Hey, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome. It's happy hump day to everyone out there. Thanks for joining me. If you don't know who I am, my name's Andy Arnott. I am a seven-figure Amazon seller. I'm the founder and CEO of AMZ Blitz. And I also have some other Amazon-related projects. And we do a lot of launch and consulting for a bunch of Amazon sellers. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I know the reason you're here is you want to hear the two things that boosted my own personal account by 50%. So first things first, can everyone hear and see me? If you can just somebody in the comments, if you can see okay and hear me okay, that's all I need, and then I'll get started. All right, Jesse, thank you, sir, or ma'am. Sorry, that's a name that could be either, and I can't really see your picture very large when the photo pops up. So we will get started. Okay, welcome. So you'll see me looking off my screen here just a little bit behind the scenes. Since we're doing a live event here, it's kind of hard to keep everything square in my mind. So I'm just going to reference my notes here, and then we'll get started. So first two things, or the two things that boosted my Amazon sales, we'll get into that shortly. Before we do that, what I do with all my live videos is I kind of give a little bit of training in the beginning, so that when I talk about the tricks that I use at the end, you actually know how to go and implement them. I think a lot of people kind of jump over that step. So hopefully that helps everyone. And then if you stick around for the absolute end of the broadcast, I will give you the third tip to boost your sales. And a lot of people want the proofs in the pudding kind of thing, right? Show me the money. Well, if you want to go and see the 50% boost, let me go ahead and put that URL up. If you want to go jump and see that, you're welcome to. That's you'll see the difference in sales there, plain and simple. I'll give you guys a few minutes if you want to go jump and see that. Actually, I'll go ahead and post it in the comments as well, and that way you guys can click on it a little more easily if you need to. All right, there you go on the Facebook comments. And so, all right, now that we got that out of the way, hopefully everyone's a believer. But okay, so before we get started with the two tricks, first thing I'm going to do is talk about SEO. All right, so Amazon SEO. I'm going to give you a quick introduction and then a few pointers on SEO. So what is SEO? So if you're new at this business or new at online marketing, SEO stands for search engine optimization. Now, it's different depending on what platform you're talking about. If it's Google or Amazon, or there's a variety of other platforms that we could talk about, but we don't care about that for now. We're talking about Amazon today. So we're going to be talking about Amazon SEO. So how does SEO affect my sales? Well, greatly. If your listing is not optimized, meaning SEO optimized, where you have your SEO terms and your titles and bullet points and your description and things like that, then you're missing out on essentially free sales, free traffic, free rank for your product. So before you do anything, I always tell my clients the first thing that we do, no matter what, is to get the listing optimized before we go to any other step after that. So for you guys, if you haven't optimized your listing yet, I know that people get lazy, especially if you have a lot of listings, myself included. It takes a lot of time and effort to optimize a listing, but if you do that, it'll really make a difference. So I highly suggest that's the first step you do. If you're taking notes or writing anything down, put a number one down and write in optimize listing. So how do you get started in optimizing your listing? Well, couple of quick pointers. I mean, you can go and search on Google or YouTube or things like that for kind of the nuts and bolts of optimization. I also have a link to a webinar I did where I go a lot more into detail on the AMZ Blitz websites, and I'll maybe post that link for you later if you want to dig in deeper. But some basics. The first thing is your title. You want to make sure that your title has your 3 to 5 most important key phrases. So if you are selling a energy bar, and you go in and you find out that energy bar is the most searched term for your product, you would want to make sure that that word energy bar is in your title. You'd also want to get, a couple more, maybe if it's a paleo energy bar, you put paleo energy bar, or you'd find the phrases that are most relevant to your product, but that are also going to drive the most traffic to your listing. The next thing you want to do, and this is kind of something new. So everybody knows that the back-end search term, the way of doing that's kind of changed. And so a lot of people saw some huge drop in sales. And one of the reasons for that is they're only indexing 250 characters or less on the back end. So a lot of people freaked out and lost a ton of sales, and they can't figure out how to get them back. Well, this is part of the secret. So just make sure that your bullet points are complete and full of terms that are relevant to your product. The next part is descriptions, and it's the same thing with the description. Not nearly as important as the title or bullet points, but you also want to make sure you have a description that is relevant and that is complete and that has a reasonable amount of characters in it. So that's kind of the other part. So those are kind of the basics of Amazon SEO. And if you've done any research on it, it's nothing new to you, but I'm just kind of going over that for people who may be new or who don't have their listing optimized. So now let's go on to the nitty gritty of the 2 secrets, and they're fairly simple. But when you hear them, you're going to say, well, that makes sense, and I'm definitely going to try that. First one is, it's extremely simple, is your sales price. What we did is we did a test. We did anywhere from 50% down to 10% above what we were selling before. So we took our entire catalog of products and we raised the price on our products. What ended up being the sweet spot was 20% for us. For you, it could be up to 50%. You have to test. So the way you can do that is pick out one of your products. If you have a parent-child product, you can break one of the child items off and test that way. That's not as good of a test, in my opinion, though, because if somebody sees 5 colors of the same product and the other products are cheaper, a lot of times they'll just opt to save them money and pick a different color. So when I do it, if I'm doing a parent-child item, I will do everything across the board on those products. So the other way to test that is to just take a single product and do it. Now, it may work for some products or not for others, so that's why I say you got to test this. So you can download your inventory file and do a bulk change of all your prices at one time. That's what we did, just because we have a ton of products and trying to do that manually would have taken forever. So we just raised everything we started out at 50%, and then we lowered it, and we just kept playing with it until we found kind of a sweet spot. So that's the first secret. Now, the second secret we're going to get into after I take some questions. So I'm going to take some questions. They don't have to relate to that first secret, just any type of questions, and then I'll get into the second little tip on how to boost your sales. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments right now. And it can be related to anything Amazon. It can be FBA, it can be SEO, it can be PPC. So she says, you raise the price. Why would that work? That's a great question. So part of the reason why that works is a lot of people don't understand that. Sorry about that. Someone is trying to call me on Skype right now. Okay, so let me let him know that I'm busy here. Okay, so back to why would raising the price, why would that work? Well, I'll tell you why that works. So the price is one of the factors that Amazon takes into account on their algorithm. So a lot of people think, it's the amount that the units that you sell a day, or other factors. But one of the biggest factors that you have to think about is what product's going to make Amazon the most money. That's all they care about. So if your product costs $10, they're making less fees than if you're charging $15 or $20. So that's why I say you have to find the sweet spot. If you were charging $15 and you go up to $20, then Amazon's getting that boost in revenue per sold. So if you can keep if you sell two less than you were before with your price raised, but your profit at the end of the day is higher, then wouldn't that make sense to raise the price? So think about that for a minute, and once you do, you'll realize that that's the way to go. Anybody else? This one was posted a little bit ago. How do you do off-page SEO? That's a whole nother bag of worms. I'm not going to cover that today because it'll just take too much time. I do more of these videos, and off-page SEO will probably be a future topic. So just make sure you keep an eye out for the videos, and we'll do that in the future. All right. Any other questions? All right. Everybody wants the second secret, I guess, huh? Okay, well, I'm going to give you the second secret, but make sure you stick around to the end of the video because the third secret's going to be at the end. So, second secret is also pretty simple, but once you hear it, will also make a ton of sense. The second secret is use the absolute most amount of characters that you can in your bullet points. So in a lot of categories, the bullet points are maxed out at 500 characters. So if you can do 500 characters in every one of your bullet points, do it. But make sure that what you're putting in there is relevant. If you put a bunch of filler or garbage, it won't work. Just make sure that you're using the best keywords that you can find, and add those into your bullet points, and you'll see a huge change. Now, once again, Amazon's all about testing. So you need to test all of these things because it may work on some products, it may not. So if we do a test on a product, we back up our original title, bullet points, and description in a spreadsheet, and then we make the change, and then we watch it. And you can watch it with an automated tracker. You can watch it with sales. You can do all kinds of other things, but that's what you want to do. And then if you improve, then you can iterate. You can go back and try to change a little bit, see if it gets better, see if it gets worse. You can A/B test. You can do all kinds of different things, but make sure you max out those bullets. And when you think about it, it also makes a lot of sense and is extremely apparent, because if Amazon's not indexing back-end keywords, where do you think they're indexing? They're indexing on the front end now. So if you can get your front end as many keywords as possible, you'll see a huge increase in sales. If you don't, it might be your category, or it might be that something else is going on with your listing. So just make sure you keep testing that stuff. So there is a couple more questions that are coming in. So I'm going to keep going on the questions, and then after that, we'll go ahead and talk about the bonus tip. So. Oh, Marco, you missed the first secret. The first secret was pretty easy. It was raise your price. We raised our price by we found out on our price the sweet spot was 20%. So we did a test from 50% all the way down to our original price, and we tested. And the sweet spot for us was 20% above our previous sell price, and we did that across the board on all our products. And we saw a really big increase in number of products sold and sales. And absolutely, I can speak more slowly. Sorry. In my past life, I was an air traffic controller, so I tend to speak fairly quickly. I'll try to slow down. And I also get excited about this stuff. A lot of people, when they do these kind of trainings and stuff, they make you pay and want you to buy something or whatever. And don't get me wrong, I'll plug what I do at the end here. But I just get super excited, and all this stuff is really fun to me. So I like helping other people. I like to hear when people are like, yeah, I quit my job. I've been working there for 10 years. I said, I'm out of here, and find out that they're now making hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on Amazon sitting on a beach somewhere. That's to me, I don't think you can give a better gift to somebody than that. More time with their families, all those kinds of things. So sorry about talking too quickly. So I'm going to try to. I might have missed some questions here. Actually, it looks like. Let's see. I'm gonna start. There's actually quite a few questions here, so it might take me a while, but I'll try to speak slowly and answer all these questions. So Michael asked, how do you go about choosing a private label product? Everybody tells you to start out with Jungle Scout. I disagree with that. Jungle Scout is a great tool, and there's a lot of other great tools like that out there. But I always like to just start with your gut, something that you think will be a hit, and you kind of go from there. The best products, I think, that are going to work the best for you are something that you're interested in, or you have a hobby in, or maybe in your previous job you have knowledge on it. It's something that it's something that or it's something that you need to, or something that you should have some knowledge on, either currently or from the past. Or if you don't have knowledge on it, then go out and start researching and become an expert in some type of product category or something like that. Like, say you have a hobby of fishing, that would be a great category. You start carrying fishing items, and then if customers ask you, hey, what's a good fishing product, already because you've tried everything, because it's a passion or a hobby of yours. So I say start there, and then use Jungle Scout to verify if there's a market for those products. And if not, maybe you can still chase that niche, but maybe it's not for that particular product. You might just need a different product. Stuart asked, did I raise the price until sales stopped? No, I didn't raise it that high. Like I said, I started at 50%, and then I gradually decreased from 50% all the way down to the original, and just kind of went through and looked at the data and found that 20% was the sweet spot for our products. Like I said, it could vary depending on your price point of your products and a lot of other factors, but definitely test it and let it ride too. Don't change the price for one day and then see that your sales dropped off and then give up. Test it for a day or two and then kind of go from there. Starting with an auto PPC campaign makes the most sense. Yes, absolutely. It's the absolute first step you want to do if you're launching a new product. You want to run an auto campaign, and the auto campaign you want to do, at least for my clients, we do a pretty aggressive bid for the first week or two, just so you can flush out the best keywords from the auto campaign. And then a lot of people say after you do that to turn the auto campaign off. We don't do that at all. We let the auto campaign ride. We just lower the bid until we get a profitable ACOS. And if people don't know what ACOS is, advertising cost of sales, that's your overall, the difference between your cost for the ad and what you actually sell. So if your ACOS was 30% on a $10 product, it means that you had to spend $3 to get $10 in sales on Amazon. Let's see here. When creating a shipping plan in Amazon, they ask for a ship from address. Would this be my LLC address or the address of my supplier in China? I'm doing air shipping. So if it's coming from your supplier direct to Amazon, so if your supplier is sending from their warehouse direct to Amazon's warehouse, then you would have them use their address, not yours. So Rosen said, I had to take them all out and get title and back end index first, and then slowly add bullet points back in. She makes a good point. When you do your bullet points and all that, it won't matter if you have those bullet points maxed out if none of those words are getting indexed. That's a great point. Thanks for mentioning that. So what you want to do is once you fill out your bullet points, you want to go and run a keyword check. There's a bunch of different tools out. One of the ones I use the most is a Chrome extension called KW Index Checker. I think it's a one-time fee. That works pretty decent. There's definitely some shortcomings with that tool, but it's what I like. It's what I'm using for the moment, at least. And go ahead and check and see which keywords are not getting indexed, and then play with your listing, move keywords around, things like that, and you should be able to get a better index rate. Rosalind, how much should the bid please approx, or does it depend? I assume you're talking about for an auto campaign. So when you start an auto campaign on Amazon, Amazon will give you a suggested bid. So it'll have a range, and then it'll say suggested bid. So when you add your product and then you create the ad group, Amazon will say for your product, this is the suggested bid range, and it'll say 37 cents to 60 cents or something like that. And then there'll be a middle one, which is the suggested bid. So the suggested bid is kind of usually in the middle between the low and the high end. So it'll be like 50 cents would be the suggested bid. So what I usually tell my clients to do, and what we do for our clients and what I do for my own account, is set it above that suggested bid. So if the range, for example, say the range was 30 cents to 60 cents and the suggested bid was 50 cents, I would bid like 55 or 60, either the max or towards the max. Just to be able to make sure that you get as much eyeballs for the first week or two on your product as possible. How do you products promote in OffPage? Yeah, I kind of talked about that. We'll do another one of these live sessions where I'll go a little bit more into that. Yep. So any more questions? The more questions, the better. We all learn when people ask questions. There's no stupid question. And if it is a stupid question, I'll laugh about it and then still answer it. But there really isn't a stupid question. I'll wait a few minutes to see how that to see if any more questions come in. Just to fill space, so you're not just staring at me and watching me make funny faces. So that picture that I posted that shows our boost in sales. One of the things you have to realize too is I just posted that was for this month, which is August, compared to our last year. And last year I was busy with a bunch of other things, so I actually didn't give my Amazon account as much love as I should have. But even if I did, we're talking about August, which is one of the slowest months of the year. And you can see that we killed it in August this year. So anyway, that's just something to remember, is even if people are like, oh, it's a slow time of year, you can make it not a slow time of year. So just take the time and you can make it work. Is being out of stock for a while harmful for your rank? Yeah, absolutely. Because when you're out of stock, that means your product's not selling. Your rank will slowly drop off when you do that. So you definitely really want to try to keep your inventory in stock. Amazon now has their own tools. There's a bunch of third-party services that will track your stock, and Amazon does it too. I know that sometimes somebody will come in and buy like a big chunk of your stock, and it kind of throws you off. But yeah, try to really keep an eye on your stock and have stuff ready to go. Now, sometimes it might even be worth if you normally send by sea and you see that you're running out of stock and you can get some more stock via air, but your profit margin goes down, significantly. As long as you're still making a profit, you can do a hybrid. That's what we do. If we're getting low on something and we need it quick, we might send 1,000 units via sea and then 200 units via air, just to kind of hold us over. So you're not paying a ton of money for the air because you're just sending a small amount, but that is kind of a stopgap to make sure that you stay in stock. That's especially useful for Q4, even though I shouldn't tell you that because now you're going to take up all all the DHL airplanes will be full and my stuff will take longer to get sent to me. So I should have kept that a secret. Just kidding. Okay. Jason, I'm brand spanking new. I'm looking to get into wholesaling this week. Is it applicable to wholesale? I teach all private label. I don't really get into wholesale, and I mean, there's definitely people making money in wholesale and arbitrage. But to me, I like to look at the long term, what's next kind of thing. And I just think if you're going to get into this business and spend your time, why not build a private label brand so that you have the chance in a year or two to be the next Nike or the next the next top water bottle, the next Under Armour. Amazon is leveling the playing field with big brands, small brands. I mean, if you get lucky, you could be the next Under Armour of clothing, just because Amazon is. Excuse me, I'm going to drink some water. That's why my voice is cracking. That's why Amazon's changing the game, is because you can come in as a small person who works out of their home in their garage and come in and somehow figure out a formula that works, and all of a sudden you're a national brand, because Amazon's kind of the new frontier for that. So my suggestion would be to go into private label, and that's all the stuff I'll teach. Some of the stuff is definitely applicable to wholesale, but generally wholesale, you don't really have control of your listings or your advertising or things like that. So a lot of this stuff wouldn't be applicable. So my suggestion would be to try to go for the private label route. Okay, if I only have one review, what is good conversion rate for my product? It was very low until I got one review, but it seems to be getting better. I had my first profitable day yesterday. Awesome. Congratulations. That's always a good feeling. I remember when I first started out, to get that little chunk of money always feels good. It's kind of a vindication of your hard work and what you're doing. If I only have one review, what's a good conversion rate? Well, honestly, since they changed the review terms of service, even 3, I like to see 3 reviews or something like that, but 1 review is a good start. Usually, I mean, once again, it depends on the product, but a pretty good conversion rate is anywhere from, ranges like 15 to 25% is a good conversion rate. If it's below that, not ideal, but if you're just starting out, it might take a while, like you said, to get more reviews, to get that conversion rate up, to get some more social proof where people are using the product a little bit more, and then people will say, okay, this is a good product, and then your conversion rate will go up. Also has a lot to do with your title and your main photo. So those are something you can play with if you want to try to get your conversion rate up. Let's see here. Would you suggest eventually focusing on only a few valuable, probably expensive keywords, as opposed to going wide with 20 to 40 keywords? I have an argument with some of my other Amazon seller friends that are kind of at the higher echelon. A lot of them say go for the profitable or the most popular keywords. I'm a long tail guy. I like to go for the keywords that nobody's thinking of, that I pay nothing for and get an ACoS of 5% on. I might only get 1 sale a day from that keyword, or 1 sale a week even, but if it's at a 5% ACoS, then to me that's a success. So I mean, I target both, of course, but I usually concentrate on long tail, and I do the same for my clients. How do you get Amazon choice for your products? There's a couple of different theories on that. One of the theories is that it's people adding your product to the cart without going into the product page. So when somebody's looking at the list of products on the Amazon search results, and they just hit the add to cart, or the buy now, the one-click buy now button, those are supposedly the 2 data points that Amazon looks at to get you that flag. Even though I read somewhere today that flag has gone away, so I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I haven't checked yet today. I haven't verified that. Okay, let's see. Somebody says they can rank products in Amazon search. They also promote products in Amazon first page. How do they do it? What is the secret? that's the $1 million question, isn't it? There's a bunch of different ways. A lot of the stuff that people are doing now, especially, you know, a lot of the overseas people who are like on Fiverr and things like that, who are like, oh, give me $5 and I'll rank your product on page one. Be really, really careful with that, because they're probably using some kind of black hat search and click tactics, things like that. So I wouldn't recommend that at all. The best way to get your product to page one is to sell more and to have an optimized listing. That's the absolute best. All right. Sean has a follow-up. So this means that since it's air shipping DDP, I have to put the address of my manufacturer in China in the ship from section while creating a shipping plan. I was asking because others have used their own LLC address. Can you explain the difference a little bit? Appreciate it big time. I don't know why you would use your LLC address, except for the possibility that if it gets to Amazon and they somehow refuse the shipment, then it might come back to you. But generally, if you had your address on the boxes and somehow you don't get through customs, that could be the opposite problem. If you don't get through customs and the people at customs are looking to return the items, then they can't. If you have your U.S. address or wherever you're sending it from, then it might get caught in customs where they have nowhere to be able to send it, because if they can't forward it to a U.S. address because it didn't clear customs, then it's just going to sit in customs. And then that's a whole nother ball of wax that's going to take you forever and be a huge pain and trouble dealing with it. We always use our Chinese address and of our manufacturers, and we never have any trouble with it. If I create a negative keyword phrases for my auto campaign, does it eliminate each keyword or just the entire phrase? Keyword phrases. So yeah. So a phrase match would anything that has that phrase in the search term would get removed. So if you had blue running shoes or if you wanted to get rid of say somebody searching blue running shoes and it's not converting, and you have running shoes as a negative match, then blue running shoes wouldn't show up anymore, or running shoes with laces, or running shoes together as a phrase will then get excluded. If you want to exclude just a specific keyword, so if running shoes is getting you sales, but blue running shoes is not getting you sales, then you'd want to do an exact negative match for blue running shoes in the campaign, or in the ad group, actually, is the better way to do it. Okay, I'm going to take 4 more, or put any last questions. I'm going to do just post it now in the next minute, and then I'm going to wrap up questions, and then we're going to close up on the third secret, and then I'll kind of do just a little bit of a close up and let you know what's coming next. Let's see here. Did a giveaway for 5 days, and it got me to page 1 for a couple keywords. Then yesterday, paused the giveaway and had 2 or 3 organic sales, but today I'm no longer on page 1. Is this due to the giveaway site not having me ranked keyword, just sales velocity only? So yeah, giveaways, this is the big issue with giveaways or promotions. Nobody's really giving stuff away anymore. Usually it's 90% off or something like that. So if you do a promotion, what a lot of people don't realize is that you have to back it up with your listing being optimized first, and then you also need to do some aggressive pay-per-click campaigns. You need to hit it hard from all sides. That's how you can get ranked and stay there. And you got to make sure when you're doing when you're ranking that you do it for an extended period of time. If you just do it for a couple days, it won't work. You gotta do it for I tell people at least 3 days, but up to a week or more if possible. That's kind of a better way to stick a rank. How can I find the best keyword search terms for my listing? Oh, that's always the golden question. There's a lot of tools out there. Some of my favorites: keywordtool.io, Sonar Tool is a good one. There's quite a few great keyword tools out there. Just search Amazon keyword tool on Google and you'll get a huge list of keyword tools. What we do is just trial and error all the different tools and kind of figure out what works the best for different listings. Is it impossible to get a sale using PPC without any reviews? Absolutely not. You can totally get sales without reviews. Your ACoS will probably just be a lot higher, but we always start our pay-per-click immediately, whether we have a review or not. And the reason for this is because you want to start selling as soon as possible. And with your sales, we'll bring reviews. So in the beginning, you might pay a little bit of higher ACoS, but hopefully some of those sales will bring you reviews, and then that'll gradually tick down. When you launch a product, you should be losing money in the first couple weeks or even a month. If you're not losing money, then you have a unicorn product or you're not doing something right. In the beginning, you should be losing money to rank. Let's see here. Looks like we got someone late. Basic tricks to double your sales. 2 of them: raise your prices and long bullet points. To recap, and this is a live video, but when it's done, you can go back and watch the whole thing, and you'll be able to see it. Let's see. All right. Any other questions? No problem. Like I said, I totally enjoy all this stuff. It's I'm tinkering with my account every day, and so I use my account as a test account, and then I use it to help our clients sell more on Amazon. So it's kind of fun for me. It's like I get to be an Amazon doctor in a laboratory, and I get to mix potions all day and figure out what works and what doesn't. All right, so I'm going to wrap up the question portions of it. Anybody wants to post like a last second one right now, I'll do it. If not, I'm going to move on to the final kind of part of the. Let's see. All right, so I promised you something at the end, and all right, we got one last question. I'll do that really quick. So you recommend keeping high bid pricing for a month? No, I don't necessarily recommend that. I recommend at least for a week, more like 2 weeks, I think is the sweet spot. But then after that, keep your auto campaign on, just lower the bid. So lower the bid to the suggested bid or below the bid, below the suggested bid until you get a profitable ACoS, or a break-even ACoS is even fine, because you want that auto campaign to keep running so that you continue to get profitable keywords from it. Okay, so now I'm going to do a little bit of self-plugging, and then I'll give you the last kind of tidbit. So please share this video. I know everybody asked you to do that, but it honestly helps, because the more people that I get in here, the more it's worth my time. And I charge you a lot. If you call me on the phone for a consulting call, it's going to cost you hundreds and hundreds of dollars. If I do this live and I can talk to a ton of people at once, it costs you nothing, but it gives value to me in return for people watching it. So yeah, please like and share the video, and make sure you jump into our Facebook group as well, because I'm always open to answer questions in there. That way it's a group effort, and you don't have to pay me for it. And then we get some great discussions, and everyone kind of gets to benefit from it. So yeah, there's that. And looks like we might be, let's see. Okay, well, it looks like just it's something's weird on my computer. It looks like the video froze, but if you guys are still seeing me, great. Okay, so sorry, I'll continue. So yeah, I was saying like and share the video, and if you can, jump into the Facebook group. like I said, I'll be able to help you guys in there, and I love interacting with everyone. That'll be a lot of fun. All right. The other thing I want to mention before I get to the last bonus secret is make sure that you go on and if you can spare even a couple bucks, help those people down in Texas right now that are underwater. Share the wealth, especially if you're killing it on Amazon. A couple bucks here and there. Just think about if your place was flooded. If you can go and kick some money that way to help those people, really appreciate that. Last but not least, the bonus, how I increased my sales. Now, this is going to be a little bit of self-plugging, but it's what I actually did. So, that's, I guess it's a self-plug and an actuality. But the last thing I did to boost sales were promotions. A lot of people aren't running discount promotions anymore. So, once the review, the discount for review setup went away, a lot of people just quit doing promotions, and you don't want to do that. You want to do promotions. And you want to do promotions in when you launch a product, and you also want to do promotions if you're trying to get ranked for a product. So make sure that you do, with the 3 tips that I mentioned, though, you want to make sure that your listing is SEO'd first. You want to make sure you have your pay-per-click campaigns running, and then you do promotions, and make sure you hit those hard all together. And that's where you'll have the best chance of getting ranked fairly quickly and sticking that rank. If you haven't heard about our website, amzblitz.com, it's a promotions website. And we also do consulting and launches, copywriting. We have a self-serve platform, which is just a promotion platform if you want to just do promotions. And then we also have full-on consulting packages where you hire us to help you launch your products, do the copy on your products, things like that. And we also offer a completely free account for the base account where you can run one product promotion at a time with unlimited campaign or unlimited coupons. And you can do that. You can add coupons whenever you want. You can drip coupon codes out, things like that. You can also collect email addresses for the shoppers who are claiming your coupons. So if you ever want to follow up with them to get reviews, things like that, it's pretty slick. And so that's it. We're going to wrap it up. I'll give, if anybody has any, because I gave that last tip, if there's any last final questions, I'll hit those. And if not, then we'll end it here in a couple minutes here. Yes, absolutely. Red Cross is another great one, and appreciate anyone in advance who does that. Yeah, like I said, it's sometimes it's hard to go and do it, but you forget you've got so many busy things. But jump on there and, like I said, just give a few bucks, because the next week, the next month, the next year, you might be the one underwater. So just remember that when things like this happen. And thank you so much for joining me. And looks like I'm getting thank yous and a couple of questions. Will these tricks work with such eBay drop shipping? I don't really sell much on eBay. It's not really my expertise. I don't really like to talk about things that I'm not expert on. So I do sell on eBay. It's just not something I'm an expert on. I mean, SEO will probably work on eBay, but I don't really want to give you information that I'm not, pretty solid on. So a couple more questions. Thank you, Marco. I appreciate that, my friends. Jared Young, when do lightning deals get offered to new sellers? That's kind of an enigma. Nobody really knows, but a lot of people think it's either, it's going to be probably a couple of factors. It could be velocity of sales, meaning you're starting to sell stuff quickly and frequently. It could be just dollar amount. If you have high dollar items and you're not selling a ton of items, but your dollar amounts are high, you might get in. It might also be just amount of time in selling. Nobody really knows, and Amazon's not sharing, but just keep plugging away. When you run into an obstacle like that, just plug away at it and keep selling, and hopefully they'll flip the switch on you sooner rather than later. All right, some things that actually my wife said to me a month or two ago that kind of kicked me into gear and made a big difference in my account on Amazon, which I kind of sometimes avoid working on because I'm so busy with my clients and our website and things like that. Is she's like, break one thing off and do it a day if you can't tackle it all. And so that's what I always pass on. My wife's wise words of wisdom worked well for me, so I'll share them with you. So that's what, if you can't get to everything today, just break one piece off. Just make a list of things, and every day just try to take one item off that list and, take one step forward. And, hopefully we'll all be sitting on a beach in Mexico in the next 2 to 5 years, retired and choosing our pina coladas. All right. Doesn't look like there's any last minute questions. Thanks everyone for watching. And like I said, if you could like this post, comment on it, share it, all those good things, so it tells other people about it, I'd really, really appreciate that. And keep an eye out on my if you're a friend of mine on Facebook, and I'll post it there. But I also will post these in the SEO group. And happy selling, everyone. Have a great day. Take care.